Oh my goodness. Another XM-18. What the heck? I had one this past year. There's a Warncliffe, which is my favorite style that Rick Henderer makes. Here's another one right here. And this is the Fatty edition. And this one looked so good. Even after promising myself I would never buy another Henderer, at least for a long time. Here I am again. Just a couple things I want to say before we take a look at it. I don't think Henderers are very high value. They're not an item that, you know, a lot of people will not agree with buying. There's just something special about them, though. And there's quite a few mid-techs out there that, you know, you can say the same thing for, that are not high value, that are expensive, but there's just a cool factor about them, and there's just something special. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but we're going to take a look at this guy and just kind of talk, ramble on a little bit. So it's the Fatty 3.5. It's got the XM-24 standoffs, and it's also got a thicker blade, just a bit thicker, just a very small amount, which is why it's called the Fatty. Hand assembled and tuned by KJ. I think my last one that I got actually had a real signature. This looks like a printout. Yeah. I don't know, maybe not. Anyways, Henderers are not known for their packaging and whatever. So let's take a look at this thing. Oh my gosh. So I already took a look at it, but I was just so amazed I thought I have to do a video on this knife. This burgundy micarta scale. I am a sucker for burgundy, like just the color in general, maroon. I just love it. I just love this color. Little dark red burgundy, it's just so good looking. Of course, the XM-18 is a titanium frame lock. Very beefy, stout titanium frame lock. One of the best looking pocket clips on any knife. This model is S35VN, and of course this is the Warncliffe blade, which I think is the best looking blade shape Henderer makes besides the Hellfire knives. So this knife on Blade HQ, if you pull this up, this has a coating. It's a DLC coating. I believe it's called Accuthrite, something like that. I'm gonna sound so stupid if I gotta look it up again now. But it's a DLC coating that I've never heard of before, or just heard of that word, period. And so I think I read it was from a rock or something, some kind of coating that they make out of a specific kind of rock or something. But whatever the case, it looks awesome. It's got this really dark gray finish, and it's just good looking. There's the logo. It says Henderer Knives in very, very small print right next to it. He's got a cool looking logo, I will say that. Their company is, oh my gosh. But you know, I see a lot of XM-18s that I like and I think are cool. But this one was one of those knives where I said, okay, how much money do I have in my bank? Is it possible? Like, if I can make it happen, I need this. So that's how good looking I thought this thing was. When I first took it out of the box, what I thought was interesting, it was so tight when I opened it. Even if I gave it some wrist action, it didn't open any more than like that. It was super tight. And so I loosened it up and played with it a bit, and now it's flipping. XM-18s are not the best flippers. The last one I had was a bit better, but it had other issues, and that wasn't the fault of the knife. The previous owner jacked it up really, really bad. But the quality and tolerances on this thing, it's insane. It's incredible. It really is. And you know, sweet little filler tab, tip up, tip down, but it is only right hand carry. he kind of, I guess he was the first one to ever invent the lock bar stabilizer right there. Which I have a few other knives that have that. One of the most popular ones, or the most popular, is the 0301. So this is a Ken Onion Strider collaboration, but you can see the lock bar stabilizers right there. I'm guessing Rick Henderer had some kind of say in this. I'm not exactly sure. Guessing he did. I also have, where's that other knife? That would actually be a good knife for the video. One second, guys. I never ever plan these videos out like I should. Oh, where the heck is that thing? Okay. Let's take a look at one of these. I've got just knives and boxes all over the place. Hopefully I'm not the only one. Knives are just... Okay. This is a Rick Henderer designed Kershaw. There's a really good look at a lock bar stabilizer. It's just a screw and a circular disc that stops you from pushing the frame lock over too far. Now you can see this is a very interesting thing going on. I mean, this is a frame lock, but this is, what is this called, the thermite? I think it's called the thermite. This frame lock's about as thin as the liner lock, right? It's a very thin, not as hard use for sure. But that's a good question that I was actually going to ask some of you guys. Do you guys think just because a frame lock is thick like this, right? Do you actually think that it's that much stronger? Just, of course, yeah, okay, it looks thicker, it's probably stronger, but does it really actually matter? I don't know. I don't know. More material, but a lot of these frame locks, they aren't even 100% engaged, which is fine. I think this is perfect. I think this one is locking up absolutely perfect right there, the middle of that frame lock. But just a curious debate. I'm not sure if I've heard people talk about it very much. I know I would trust a frame lock over a liner lock every day, but I don't know. When you're gripping a frame lock and you have your hand really tight, you're also securing that frame lock onto the bottom of that blade tang. So that's kind of the main thing with a frame lock is, you've got your index finger and middle finger really pushing really hard. If you're squeezing tight, if you were in a really tough situation where you needed that knife to stay locked, your grip is going to be keeping that knife locked, along with the fact that hopefully it doesn't slip out and just close on your fingers. But that's what's nice about a flipper, and especially an XM-18 over a lot of flippers have really small little flipper tabs, dinky flipper tabs. This thing, you see how it curls right here, and so if that thing was to close on your hand, you're going to get pinched hard on your index finger, but you're not going to be cutting yourself, right? It's going to stop right there. I don't know if there's any lube in this pivot. I bought this knife from a guy off Facebook, and from what I was seeing, I got a pretty good deal. These were running $515 with just the basic G10 scale, so this is a $100 scale from what I saw online on top of a $500 knife, so you're looking at $615 if you wanted this knife when it was available. And so it's not cheap at all. And when you're talking that kind of money, you got options like a Benchmade Gold Class. Would I say the XM-18 is a better knife? Possibly. I think there's just something special about them. Of course, there's something special about this this Gold Class Striker too. But the packaging it comes with and everything, and the uniqueness, and it's not as limited. This one, I know Benchmade does really, they do some limited runs. But this XM-18, I think they probably make, I don't know, what do you guys think, like 30, 40, 50 in each run, maybe 100 of a specific finish. Some of the finishes, they make thousands, but but in some of these special finishes, I don't think they make as many. I could be wrong. I'm not sure exactly how many they make, and how many of these scales have been made. I don't know. All of his hardware is made in-house, and the customization that you can do with these XM18s, with you know, it's so easy. You can buy different types of screws, different anodized screws online. You can have somebody anodize them, whatever. Different filler tabs, different pocket clips, and just different scales. You know, if you don't like the way your knife looks or you get bored, there's always somebody who's willing to trade or try something new. Everything about this knife is just absolutely flawless. It's just gorgeous. You can see it's a pretty thick Warncliffe. It's a pretty beefy boy, and I like that. It's nice. It's just got a cool factor through the roof. My girlfriend has and we did a video on it, a ZT, a limited edition ZT, and it's a Warncliffe, and it's, you know, it's based off Rick Henderer's Eclipse model, and that's a badass blade. I'm gonna have to set these side by side when I get. She's traveling right now, but when she comes back, we'll set them side by side and take a few photos. That's mandatory. But yeah, I'll just tell you this much, guys. I have, oh gosh, we'll set some knives on the table real quick. I have a lot of knives. Here's just a few. You know, all different kinds, right? All different kinds of knives, right? Here's just a few I can grab. You know, take my word for it when I say this. The XM18 is around the knife community and still around for a reason. It is not high value. It isn't a knife that you're going to buy if you're looking for a beater. You should definitely use these knives. I think when I see a Henderer that's used, it's awesome. I mean, I will lightly use this one. I'm not going to hard use it, but this is a knife I want to carry. It's one of those knives that you will carry with pride and joy, and it's just, if you like the way this thing looks, the quality is there. The style's obviously there if you like the way it looks. But it's more importantly, they've been around because they're functional. They're made incredibly well, and guys that collect a lot of knives like me, they know these XM18s are just wicked. It just for some reason it feels so hard, like heavy duty. It feels, not that it weighs a bit. You know, I think it's like 5 or 6 ounces. When I hold. Here's a 0220. This thing, I think this thing weighs more than the XM18 does. When I flip this, and you know, it's a great design. It's nice, and Jen Zanzo did a excellent job. I think it's a great looker too. But for some reason, it doesn't have the feeling of, if I drop this thing on the concrete, I feel like I'm gonna break concrete. It has this like attitude feeling about it. Like it's like, okay, I'm a badass, and I know I am. Like that's the best way I can put it. The XM18 is just, I don't know, man. If you have never owned an XM18, I think the time is now. They're a really good price all over the place. You can get them on eBay for $300. Oh my goodness, $300, $350. Just some simple Phillips screws and a simple, very simple pivot. And you can just fit a penny in there perfectly. Just very practical. Can you make a pocket knife look cooler than this? I think you can make a pocket knife look different, and maybe almost as cool or just as cool, but I don't see anybody. I mean, there's a lot of pocket knives in the world. Everybody's got an opinion, but to me, and out of all the knives that I have, take it from someone. Just a word of advice from somebody that owns a lot of knives. These XM-18s, if you want a knife that is just absolutely flawless and totally sick. Try one out. They are, oh man. I'm going to be taking a lot of photos. This is going to be a keeper. This knife is 100% a keeper. I just can't get over how sick it looks. I'm probably interested in a Skinner as well. I'd like to get a Skinner XM-18 with like a jade scale or something really bright. Pair it right up next to this. And then I'd probably be good on the Hinders for a while. Hinders have Teflon washers as well, I should mention, which I don't know why guys cry about them online. I know, okay, it's a $400 plus knife depending on what configuration you get, but does it really matter if the knife is insanely smooth and there's no blade play? It's, you know, with Teflon washers, you're not going to have some of the issues that you could have with bearings. They're going to deal with grime really well. They're going to deal with sticky, you know, if I cut through an orange with an 801, if I cut through an orange, all of a sudden my pivot will get really grippy and it just won't feel as smooth. It may be you may have a similar thing happen with the Teflon, but it won't be as bad. It's a very smooth, it's hydraulic feeling. It's just nice. It's incredible. I would take Teflon and bronze washers every day over bearings if it's made to this quality. But I do like bearing flippers, don't get me wrong. It's all cool to me. I just love knives. So XM-18s, they're badass for a reason. You guys are thinking about trying one out, I'd say go for it. They hold their value really well. You know, if you don't like it, just sell it. I think everybody needs at least one XM-18 in their collection. One thing that I think I should also note is detent wise, this XM that I have right here is good. You know, it doesn't flip out with the strongest authority. It is still a pretty light detent, but I'd say it's good enough to where, you know, it's not gonna shake out easy. It feels like, yeah, it's really secure, which is good. I had a 0561. I've had two of them, and the past XM I had, they all had really weak detents. And this one doesn't flip as well as my last XM. I wouldn't say it's with as much authority, but that one was quite a bit more used and had a lot more break-in, I think, on it. But you know, it's been flipped a lot more, so it was maybe a bit more smooth. But I mean, well, this thing is insanely smooth, but I think they just smooth out the more you use them and more you play with them. Just like most knives. But the past 0561s that I've had really weak detents to where when I'd carry them in my pocket, and if I would jump or run, I'd be pretty worried that they would just open in my pocket. And I had one do it while I was just walking, and I sat down, and I think just a little bit of pressure on the flipper tab pushed it open. And that worries me a little bit. I don't want a knife to just open and cut my ass while I'm just doing whatever, you know. And so this one's good. This one's really good. And when we're talking about a Warncliffe, I wanted to bring another knife on the table. Okay, hello. Spyderco Yojimbo. Yes, I haven't forgotten about you. And that thing pops out. I might need to carry this on me. This thing's actually kind of cool. I don't own a whole lot of Spydercos, but the Yojimbo speaks to me. I like Warrentlifts, and this is just a funky looking, very unique, just an all around cool looking blade. But the Warrentlif, obviously this is a totally different knife, but when it comes to actually cutting, you know, they're gonna perform relatively the same. You know, they're both gonna just straight up be some mean old box cutters, I'll tell you that much. Set them side by side and they aren't really comparable. Totally different knives. This Yojimbo though, I think fires out. What a strong, wicked detent. That thing is so smooth. What the heck? No blade play. It's my favorite Spyderco. One of the only Spydercos I have. But the only one I've always hung on to. I kind of threw it in the bottom of the case though. I never ever carry it on me, but that might change. I like that. I like that knife a lot. The Warrentlif here though, actually we could show Yojimbo. I was thinking it was pretty stocky. Yeah, the Yojimbo is not a thin blade. That is a beefy blade too. But then it comes down to a insanely thin point. The XM does too, but it's not as thin and fragile. Both would be mean box cutters. We can leave it at that. You know, when people try to sell brass knuckles online, they say that they're just paperweights. I kind of think about that with Warrentlifts, you know. They could just market them as box cutters, but we all know they can do a bit more than just cut boxes open. They can cut bananas really well. Oh gosh, we're getting stupid. I am blown away. Absolutely blown away. This is an amazing knife. Thumb stud deployment. Boom. That's it, guys. Take it easy.